Thank you for joining us. While our current health metrics necessitate the need to host virtual curriculum night meetings, we are still very excited to share what our Oak Grove Eagles and families can expect to experience this school year. Once again, we welcome all new families to Oak Grove School, and we are thankful for the continued support of everyone in our community. This webinar will include information on our attendance, our COVID-19 testing and quarantining options, virtual learning when needing to quarantine, welcome messages from the PTO and Foundation, and directions for this week's curriculum nights on Tuesday for grades kinder through second, Wednesday for grades 3, 4, and 5, and Thursday for grades 6, 7, and 8.
Let's get started with our attendance procedures. Students in kindergarten through 8th grade must be in their homeroom at 8:20 a.m. Students entering school after the start of classes must report to the office for a tardy slip. If you know your child will be absent, please notify the school at 847-367-4120 by 9 a.m. If your child is sick and needs to miss more than one day, please call school on each consecutive day of the illness. If the school is not notified, Oak Grove is responsible to make a reasonable effort to notify the parent or families of the student's absence. Due to our current bus situation, many families have been making the switch from bus to driveline or our pickup process. In these instances, it is very important that a parent send a note either on paper or through email to both the office and the teacher at the earliest time possible. Children are often confused by these changes. We encourage families to communicate after-school plans with children in the morning before school starts so they know what to expect at dismissal time. By having students prepared with their dismissal plans, this makes both busing and the driveline or pickup move more safe, smooth, and efficient.
In the next several slides, we would like to share information about the new close contact definition, the 4 testing programs available for students and staff, the 4 separate quarantining options for students and staff, and how the testing and quarantining options may vary depending on vaccine status.
What is a close contact? To start, for COVID-19, a close contact is defined as any unvaccinated individual who was within 6 feet of an infected person for at least 15 minutes throughout a 24-hour time period, 2 days prior to their symptoms or 2 days prior to getting tested, up until last contact with the infected person. In the classroom, a close contact is defined as any unvaccinated students who are within 3 feet of an infected person for 15 minutes throughout the school day. As long as we manage our students and self with these guidelines, we will eliminate many close contacts. Each staff member and student will be managed case by case.
The first of our 4 testing options is the screening option, which is voluntary for students and staff members who are non-symptomatic. The screening involves a weekly PCR lower nasal test given by an outside agency at OGS. We are using Vita Persona, and this option is starting on Tuesday, August 31st, 2021. Participants will receive results within 24 to 48 hours. Staff members and parents who are having their child participate in the screening will have access to their weekly results should they need them for other events like travel, sports, and various venues. A consent form is needed by all who choose to participate in this program. Individuals can opt in and out at any time.
The diagnostic test is the second of our testing options. This test is also voluntary for any students and staff members who have completed consent forms on file. OGS nurses or trained administrators will administer the diagnostic rapid antigen test by Binax Now for those individuals who become symptomatic during their day at school. Results will be available within 15 minutes. The benefits of this diagnostics test include being able to identify cases quickly, allowing positive cases to go home, quickly identifying any close contacts, and anyone with a negative test result may return to school if symptoms allow. A consent form is needed for all who participate in this program.
Our third testing option is called Test to Stay. If a child is considered a close contact here at school and enrolled in the Test to Stay program with consent forms signed, the student is able to participate in all normal activities as long as the student does not have symptoms or have a positive COVID test during the every other day screening. If a child is exposed outside of school, they would not be eligible for the Test to Stay program. This is only available if the exposure was mask on mask here at school with the positive case. We cannot verify a mask on mask situation outside of school. This is why the Test to Stay is not available when exposed outside of school. The process followed for a Test to Stay is very similar to the diagnostic test. This test is also voluntary for any students and staff members who have completed consent forms on file. OGS nurses or trained administrators will administer the diagnostic rapid antigen test by Binax Now for those individuals who become symptomatic during their day at school. Results will be available within 15 minutes. The benefits of this Test to Stay option include being able to identify cases quickly, allowing positive cases to go home, quickly identifying any close contacts, and anyone with a negative test result may return to school if symptoms allow. A consent form is needed for all who will participate in this program.
Outbreak. At any point in time, if we have 2 or more cases that are linked I apologize, epidemiologically, that's a mouthful, that do not share the same household and are not listed as close contacts of each other outside of this situation, then we have what is considered an outbreak. The outbreak testing option is voluntary and for unvaccinated students and staff who have completed consent forms on file. In the event of an outbreak, participants in this option will be tested twice weekly. Testing will continue weekly until the targeted group has gone through 2 incubation periods or 28 days without identifying new cases. At the point of an outbreak, we will be taking our guidance from the Lake County Health Department.
The first quarantine option is the standard 14 calendar days after initial exposure. This option is for both unmasked or masked individuals who are non-vaccinated and who remain asymptomatic throughout the 14 days. For this option, no testing is required prior to returning to school. Another option involves quarantining for 10 calendar days after the initial exposure to someone who tested positive for COVID. For this option, the date of exposure is considered day 0. Depending on local metrics, the Lake County Health Department may require negative test results to return to school on day 11. Students or staff using this quarantine option must remain asymptomatic throughout the 10 calendar days in order to return to the classroom with physical distancing of 3 to 6 feet and masking.
A third quarantine option involves quarantining for 7 calendar days after initial exposure. Individuals using this option must remain asymptomatic and have a negative PCR test collected within 48 hours of day 7, which means either testing on day 6, 7, or 8. Individuals who opt for either the 7 or 10-day quarantine are responsible for their own negative test results before returning to school. Individuals who are quarantined in these options may not come to the school to obtain a test.
The fourth quarantine option involves the Test to Stay protocol described in slide 7. A completed voluntary consent form on file is needed to participate in this option. If identified as a close contact, the student or staff member may stay in school if agreeing to test on days 1, 3, 5, and 7 after the initial exposure to the positive case. OGS nurses or trained administrators will administer the rapid antigen test by Binax Now. As previously described, results will be available within 15 minutes, and the benefits include being able to identify cases quickly, allowing positive cases to go home and isolate, quickly identifying any close contacts, and those with negative test results being able to remain in school.
Virtual learning. When needing to quarantine due to a COVID situation, a student may participate in virtual remote learning. We request your patience and a 24 to 48-hour grace period for teaching teams to prepare technology and materials. Streaming will be made available through Google Meets for content areas only. The classes include for streaming are math, reading, writing, language arts, science, social studies, world languages, and SEL. Music, art, PE, library, and other rotations will not be streamed. Teachers in these areas will work with students when they return to school. Student devices left at school and any needed materials will be made available for pickup in the vestibule outside of the office.
Illinois' new state mandate. The indoor masking order statewide begins today, Monday, August 30th, and educational employees are required to begin their COVID-19 vaccine regimen by September 5th. All educational employees must get a COVID-19 vaccination or submit to weekly testing, or more frequently if ordered by the local health department. We will communicate internally with our staff on the specifics of how we will verify staff vaccination status and coordinate weekly testing as appropriate. While we continue to meet these new and unprecedented obligations, we do maintain our focus on what is most important: student learning and the social emotional well-being of our children.
And now an update from our PTO co-presidents, Ms. Kate Byers and Ms. Beth Zender.
Hello families, I'm Beth Zender. And I'm Kate Byers, and we're this year's co-presidents of the PTO. We're also very excited to be serving with a great group of people on the executive board. We have our VP, Elizabeth O'Neill, our registrar, Aisha Mirza, our secretary, Elizabeth Cobb, and our treasurer, Haley Burns. In addition, we have over 40 individuals that have stepped up to chair committees or be co-chairs. So as many of you know, the PTO supports the school through in-school programs and assemblies, after-school student and family events, and also staff appreciation efforts, including annual teacher funds and special grant requests. And we do all of this through funds that we raise at our programs and events throughout the year. We've already started off the year with a bang, and it's been so much fun. Whether it's been New Family Night, Chalk the Walk, Family Fest, or our first Eagle Express treat train, we couldn't have done it all without your help and support.
Absolutely. One of the best ways to make Oak Grove feel like home is by getting involved in the PTO and attending our monthly meetings. Our meetings are open to all parents, and all parents are voting members of the PTO. Our meetings are typically held the first Wednesday of the month. We alternate between 9:30 in the morning and 6:30 at night. They are held at school, but we do offer a Zoom option for those that would prefer to attend virtually. We've already had our first meeting. It was so great seeing everybody in person and on Zoom. And our next meeting, please mark your calendars, is October 6th. It will be at 9:30 at school. And again, with a Zoom option. We hope to see you all there.
Yes, so we don't exactly know what this year is going to look like. We hope that we can do most of our usual events, but we don't know what the year has in store. But we are committed, our whole team is committed to being as creative as we need to be to make the best year possible. But we really can't do it without a small army of volunteers. So whatever your interests are, whether maybe you love community service, you could help our community give back committee. Maybe you love event planning and you could help plan a family social. Please reach out to us at pto@ogschool.org, and we will help match you up with a committee chair, and we would love your help. By getting involved with the PTO, you'll not only have the opportunity to get to know faculty and staff at the school, the students and other families, but you'll also play an important part in making Oak Grove the special school that it already is.
PTO meetings are typically held monthly on the first Wednesday of the month. The next meeting will be held on October 7th at 9:30 a.m. in the school's PD conference room. The PTO can be contacted at pto@ogschool.org or www.ogschool.org/PTO.
The Oak Grove School Education Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit volunteer-run organization. This organization issues grants with the goal to empower, engage, and inspire OGS teachers and students to advance to new levels of learning. Grants are funded in 4 areas: STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math; arts and language; helping students reach their potential; and teacher innovation and creativity. The foundation has created and supported 2 annual awards, the OGS Teacher of the Year Award, as well as several $1,000 college scholarships for OGS alumni graduating from Libertyville High School. In the last 5 years, the foundation has issued more than $150,000 in grants and projects. This year's fundraiser is planned for February 2020. All donations are always welcome and tax deductible. To learn more, visit www.ogsef.org.
OGS News. We wanted to bring your attention to the weekly OGS News. This newsletter comes out on Monday afternoon or the first day of the week and includes upcoming important dates, highlights of special events, and OGS school, district, and community news.
And we have a few programming updates. As mentioned during our early August webinar, we have several programming updates for the 21-22 school year. First, our 4th and 5th grade teams have switched from 2-person teams to a 3-person team model. Therefore, if you have a 4th or 5th grade child, they will see 1 teacher for ELA, 1 teacher for math, and 1 teacher for science and social studies during their core instructional day. Next, we have added social emotional learning, SEL, activities as a 6th grade rotation. This means that every student in 6th grade will have a formal SEL lesson 1 day each week for 40 minutes. This offers SEL as a standalone rotation class in grades kindergarten through 6th grade. Also, library will now be a full rotation class in grades kindergarten through 5th grade. Another addition to our programming is our minimum of 30 minutes dedicated to intervention and extension. All grade levels have IE time built into their schedules. IE provides our teachers time in the day to use their classroom assessments and iReady data to support students with unfinished learning and/or enrichment and support in differentiated areas based on the needs of each individual student. During curriculum night, your child's teacher will provide further details in each of these programming areas.
Without further ado, we welcome you to this year's curriculum nights. Kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade will host their curriculum night on Tuesday, August 31st. On Wednesday, September 1st, grades 3, 4, and 5 will host their curriculum night. And finally, grades 6, 7, and 8 will host their curriculum nights on Thursday, September 2nd. Each curriculum night will be conducted live through Google Meets, the same platform the children have used to connect with teachers online in the past. 2 sessions will be offered each night for those families who have multiple children. The first session is scheduled for 6:30 to 7:15 p.m., and the second session is scheduled for 7:15 to 8 p.m. Each teaching team will conduct a 25 to 30-minute presentation with a brief opportunity for questions and answers at the end. Please remember that this time is for general questions and not individual student needs. If you have any questions specific to your child, please follow up with their teacher via email. Some teams will offer time after the team presentation to meet with individual teachers. In these cases, the individual teacher will send their classes of parents a different meeting link in a separate email. To access the Google Meet link, you will need to use your child's device and Google login. Members of our related services team are also available through Google Meet should you wish to visit with them during the time provided. All team Google links will be shared through an email on Tuesday morning. If you have any questions or need assistance, please reach out to Principal Barnaby at barnaby@ogschool.org.
As mentioned in the previous slide, each team will host 2 live Google Meets sessions to ensure that families with multiple children in different grade levels have an opportunity to attend. Each session will provide the same information. All Google Meets links will be shared through a bright arrow email blast on Tuesday. Based on individual teacher preference, individual class links may also be sent for individual teachers meeting with parents after the team presentation. Directions for those Google Meets may be shared by the child's teacher in a separate email. And that brings us to the end. The link for this webinar, along with a link for the parent-student handbook, will continue to be posted on our Oak Grove website. Don't forget, there is a link on page 4 of the handbook that parents and students need to access to confirm having reviewed the contents together. And please contact Mr. Murray or me with any questions or suggestions. We are here to partner with you to make this an amazing year.